Hey guys, we're back with Wednesday Words, and our topic is prayer. We've been in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Last week we talked about Jesus revealing the Father as your personal God. That when it comes to prayer, we don't have to worry about God being personal or impersonal. We know for sure, based on Jesus' words, that our God is a personal God. And so here's something else that Jesus reveals to us about the Father when it comes to prayer. This is in Matthew chapter 6, and we'll just look at verses 7 and 8. Jesus says, when you pray, don't babble like the Gentiles, since they imagine they'll be heard for their many words. Don't be like them, because your Father knows the things you need before you ask him. So Jesus is going to great pains to talk to us about another really important attribute of God when it comes to our prayer life. Now here, this is awesome because Jesus says, don't pray like the Gentiles. Now that doesn't mean a lot to us today, but this would have meant a lot to a Jewish community because the Gentiles were praying to pagan gods. They were praying to Greek gods that were capricious. They didn't know what kind of mood their gods were going to be in. Half the time they didn't even know what name their god was called. They would make up names for their gods. It was a stressful situation to go pray before those pagan gods. And the Gentiles felt like if the more they babbled and the more energy that they expended, the more that maybe the gods would be inclined to give them what they needed. And Jesus says to his followers, don't pray like that. And he gives this profound reason. He says, don't pray like the Gentiles because your Father knows what you need before you even ask him. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking because I've thought it myself. Well, if the Lord knows what we need, why doesn't he just give it to us? Why do we even have to pray if he already knows what we need? I've thought that, you've probably thought that, but as I was thinking this through, I felt just the Holy Spirit asked me this question, well, what would the alternative be? What if God didn't know what our needs would be? I mean, that would really be problematic. I mean, think about it. You go to the Lord and you're like, Lord, I'm in this financial situation, and he comes back and he says, I wish you had told me that earlier. I could have totally helped you out if you had gotten to me like a week ago. And I could have worked this thing out, but since I didn't know, that opportunity's already gone by, and I'm so sorry. I wish I had known. I mean, can you even imagine what that would be like? This is great news that God the Father knows what we need before we even ask him. There's nothing about your life that he is unacquainted with. He knows every single thing that you need. And so Jesus says, go to your Father in prayer because he knows these things. And so last week we learned that God is personal, and today we learn that God is all-knowing. God is all-knowing. So let that be an encouragement today as you seek him in prayer.